Good afternoon, gentlemen. Today, I'm going to present a product called Mobiquity, which is essentially mobile and it is ubiquitous. So we termed it as Mobiquity product, which will which actually powers M-commerce. This is a product from Comviva Technologies. What's happening in the market is that there are quite a few unbanked people. In India, about 60% of the people are unbanked. And these people don't have any kind of financial access to the banks or for any credit cards or anything like that. So they are in dire need of financial access. And and on the other end, there are people who have bank accounts and who are affluent, who are looking for speed and convenience. This particular product, what it does is, it's a single platform that will enable financial access to the low end of the spectrum, people who don't have bank accounts or who don't have financial access, and it will provide the speed and convenience for the customers who are already banked and who hold a credit card or a debit card. So essentially what the product does is it converges various payment instruments on the mobile. For instance, cash. It's a cash economy. A lot of people are walking around with cash. One of the mandates from the RBI is also to electronify the cash, so they can keep track of what is happening with that. That's one problem it solves. And the other problem it solves is it brings unbanked people into some financial services fold. That's a huge social impact this particular product is going to have from that standpoint. And for banks and for telecoms and all, it provides a new source of opportunity in terms of revenues. So how it works is one can go to a telecom agent who does the usual recharges and all that, pay whatever they want to pay to electronify this money into a digital wallet or a mobile wallet. And once the mobile wallet is loaded with certain value, they can use that value to make payments, whether it is bill payments or if they want to do a top up or make payments at the point of sale as well. So this is what it, and also a lot of people don't have access to make payments online, and this will provide them an access and a way to make payments online. And those who have debit, credit or other payment cards, they can link it to this particular product and be able to don't have to carry a wallet anymore. They can just go take the phone and use the phone to make all kinds of payments, whether it is proximity payments or whether it is remote payments, which I will go into it. On top of that, it also allows, I mean, what we are doing right now, like online payments and all that, that can be done through the mobile phone as well. As an evolutionary thing, the product also allows one to put coupons, loyalty cards, and the points and make payments through those as use them as a value and make payments through them as well. What Mobiquity does is it delivers an immersive, interactive, and individualized remote payments experience for both banked and unbanked customers. Just to so it's a demo, interactive demo. Essentially, what's happening here is that Rohit is out of town. It's his wedding anniversary, and he wants to send some flowers to his spouse. He had gotten a coupon from Ferns and Petals a few days ago, and he remembers that I have this particular coupon, so I want to pay it. And he goes to this particular application and he looks up Ferns and Petals, and it will take him through the entire process of selecting what kind of flowers he wants to buy and what range he wants to buy it in and where he wants to send it and when he wants to send it. Once that discovery thing is done, now discovery and shopping piece is done, then he would be able to pay it whether using the mobile wallet, which is already the money sitting in his wallet, through the transaction he made at an agent by putting in money, or if he has a linked credit or a debit card, he can pay through those things. So he has an option of paying it through different avenues. Once he pays, now the next step is if Ferns and Petals wants to reward him again for making a payment, or if the service provider wants to reward him for making the payment, they can offer him some reward points as well to use this in future. So it's a complete experience. At the end of all this experience, he can provide a feedback as well to the agent or to the service provider, or to whoever is looking for a feedback. He can provide feedback through the social network or directly to the service provider. So how it is evolving and what this product is incorporating is that typically you see a lot of mobile payments products, but this product would take the entire shopping life cycle experience for the customer from the time he wants to pick some product, go about discovering what the product is, paying, and the post-payment experience as well. This product is particularly used by telecom operators and the banks to offer payment services, whether it could be remote payments like buying digital content or mobile top-ups using that, or they want to buy movie tickets, airline tickets, and in cases, for instance, if it is a business which wants to pay salaries for their employees and all, they can directly distribute their salaries into the mobile wallets instead of paying a check or transferring money into their accounts. Transferring money into the bank accounts is not feasible in a lot of countries, especially with the unbanked customer, that it goes directly into the wallet, and the customer then, most of these customers are migrant workers, they would be able to send the money directly from their wallet to their family wherever they are residing. And magazine subscriptions can be done, and the government can pay the retirement benefits and other things. For it, there can be government to person payments, you can make person to government payments as well. In terms of proximity payments, you must have heard about NFC, near field communication, where you just tap and go. So you can actually make payments at the point of sale by just taking a phone which is enabled with a NFC chip. Just tap it and you are done with it, and the transaction will go through, provided there is money in the wallet. So it will enable both proximity and remote payments. The advantage is that remote payments is mostly feasible for the people who don't have financial access. There is a huge shoe leather cost for people in terms of going long distances to make bill payments or standing in the lines for hours, and they don't have much time, and their life they cannot afford to do that. So it facilitates those kind of things. For developed markets where people are looking for speed and convenience, the proximity payments comes into play, where they can quickly pay the merchant and walk away. So as I already mentioned, it allows billers to upload bills and track collections. So for bill payments, a lot of billers want to streamline the process of bill payments, not having a kiosk for collecting bills and all that. They can do electronic bill presentment or mobile bill presentment. We provide this particular product provides a GUI, graphical user interface, where they can enter all the information about a particular bill, and they push it to the customer, and the customer would make a bill payment on the fly. Similarly, enterprises and governments can also make bulk payments. It's them making payments to the end user or the customer, or the customers can make payments to the businesses and the governments. If somebody wants to pay taxes and all, they can pay taxes through this mode to the government. As I already mentioned, again, supports proximity payments using NFC. So you must have heard about the developed markets where NFC is fairly popular. Google and ISIS and several companies have embarked on this NFC, but their focus is only on the developed market and only NFC. Whereas the uniqueness of this product is that it will provide access to both banked and unbanked population. And not only that, you can use a very low-end phone as well as a high-end phone. What we call it as a reach versus richness. Reach from a low-end phone in the sense that you can make your payment through SMS, or you can make your payment through USSD or IVR channels. On the other end, you can use a application or a WAP or NFC to make applications. So it suits for both developed and developing economies. On top of this, beyond this product, the product itself facilitates building an ecosystem where You can grow the network of merchants where you can one can go about paying. For instance, MasterCard is one thing. So generally a wallet, you would be able to use it only with the merchants that the service provider has signed up to make payments and all. If I integrate with a MasterCard or a Visa or American Express, then one can use this particular mode of payment to go to any merchants that accept MasterCard or Visa or American Express and make the payments. That's the beauty of the ecosystem, and it not only helps consumers life making the consumers life easier, but it also helps the drive usage, and it will help the companies that are offering the services in drawing more revenues. Often there is one concern about the security. Online there was quite a bit of security. There is security inbuilt into the product from the time we enroll, the merchant is enrolled and the customer is onboarded, from the standpoint of checking out the KYC, which is know your customer, anti-money laundering and all. All those things are taken care of before the merchant is onboarded or the customer is onboarded. And as far as the data transfer, there is end-to-end data encryption. All transactions are PIN protected, so the customer has a PIN. He would use a PIN to make a transaction. Once the transaction is made, once he initiates the transaction, all the data would flow in an encrypted format. And the application itself is the data stored in the data store is in an encrypted format, and only the authorized users can use it. And also, to minimize the fraud potential or anything, we can define the thresholds for the customer as well as the merchant in terms of the size of the transactions they can accept or they can make. So that's just from the pure transaction standpoint and the pre-experience and the post-experience of the transaction. In addition to this, the product will also help the service providers with the catalog creation and management in terms of what are the products they want to offer, how do they want to present it to the customer, and mobile storefront management creates the storefront layouts and delivers a differentiated shopping experience, and marketing management, security management. So the whole slew of services come along with that. It depends on the customer who wants to use what kind, the type of services they want to offer the customer. On top of it, the loyalty management also plays a big role into this whole thing. Quickly, case studies. One of the case study is mobile ticketing in Bangladesh. One of our customers, a mobile operator, tied up with the Bangladesh railway system, where the service is enabled for 53.8 million customers. They can just go ahead and buy a mobile ticket using their mobile phone. They can completely, just like you go online and make check your seats and availability of the seats and all that, it will walk you through the entire process, and you make the payment through your credit card or through your wallet or whatever source of funds you have on the phone. And so that's one. On average, we have the process over 100,000 ticket transactions per month, and services registering 17% month-on-month growth. The other one is the M-Shop and engaging. It's a shopping experience which I walked you through. Basically, this will because there is no animation here, it walks you through the entire process of how you go about buying a product using your mobile phone. So then we have a Tanzania mobile operator who is using the product, where the remittances is a huge market there, because people are sending money into Tanzania for their families, and it facilitate international remittances. You can send money out of the country, or you can send money into the country. Currently, if you use a Western Union or MoneyGram, it costs almost 10% of your 10% of the money you are sending to send that, and it is a huge expense for people who are living paycheck to paycheck. By using the mobile as a medium, it reduces the cost to less than 1% of. So that's another huge opportunity for mobile operators to offer. Yeah, I'm done. So. Yeah.
Two questions that I have for you.
Yeah.
Two questions.
Yeah.
One is, what differentiates Mobiquity
Yeah.
from competitive applications of a similar nature?
Right.
Number one. Number two is in terms of the regulatory environment in India,
Yeah.
which does not permit a whole slew of operations within this environment.
Right.
How do you overcome those two?
Okay. The first question, what a lot of competitors offer the services in a piecemeal fashion. Some products only offer mobile banking, and the big ones you're talking about, like the Googles of the world, they're focused mainly on the mobile payments. Whereas our product is a single scalable platform which will allow a service provider, a telco or a bank to offer mobile banking, mobile payments, as well as mobile wallet. So all three things are packed together. That's a huge differentiator for us, especially in emerging economies where we are present very strongly. The mobile wallet is a huge differentiator. So that's one aspect of it. The second question was, sorry, regulatory environment.
Mobile banking with the regulatory environment.
Yes, it is what. In any market, banks are allowed to do mobile banking. It's regulatory authorities have enough guidelines and policies for the banks. It's the telcos that usually have difficulty getting a license. For instance, in India, Airtel has a license, but it is a semi-closed loop license. Basically what that means is that a customer who has a Airtel wallet can use his money, can make payments only with the merchants that Airtel has a relationship with. He cannot go and pay anywhere. How did we, that's one, Airtel has a license, it worked well. But in a case of, for instance, Idea, we have a product, this product will facilitate a bank and a telco to come together and meet the regulatory requirements. We have, our product is currently being used by Idea and Axis as a collaboration, wherein what happens is that Axis has the banking license, they have the stored value account and everything, they manage the accounts. They are using telco as a acquisition game, because Idea has huge agent network. They would be able to, they will follow the guidelines that Axis provides, and they would be able to enroll more customers and help Axis grow their base as well. So it's the product would support any of the models in regulatory. We are in about 90 countries right now, and it's support.
I'm talking only about India. I'm not talking about
Right.
the universe.
Right. So in India, that's what the model is. It's a collaborative model where both banks and telcos come together and launch this product out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How are the other operators apart from Airtel doing on this, and in terms of the speed in which they can offer this to the consumer, and B, building that ecosystem around it? Or do you feel that the so-called restriction that Airtel has with its brethren in the distributor or the sales and distribution community, is that a technical limitation or is it a policy limitation?
It's a policy limitation. Technical limitation, it is not. To answer your first question, pretty much, I already mentioned Idea is offering these services. They're focused more on domestic remittances between the corridors where the remittances happen. And Aircel is in the process of launching their Aircel Money as well. And Aircel is their Idea, Airtel, and a few others are working towards it. Mainly why telcos are holding off is that they're trying to get the license, something like Airtel, so they can control most of the operations and keep the revenue. That's one of the reasons. So from a policy standpoint, as I said, the telcos are not, even if telcos get some kind of license, first RBI would say is it has to be a semi-closed loop or a closed loop. When I say closed loop, it is only the Airtel agents you can use it at. Semi-closed loop is, it can be beyond Airtel agents, but they should have a direct relationship with Airtel. When you talk about closed loop, open loop, it is any merchant that is accepting mobile payments. It could be like if it is a MasterCard acquired merchant, and if Airtel has a relationship with MasterCard, then the customer should be able to go to a MasterCard accepting merchant and make a payment there.
But what is the experience in some of the other developed countries with regard to semi-closed loop or a total open loop? Because in the Indian ecosystem, if any of these transactions fail mid-path, you would have reconciliation issues between Airtel or Idea or Vodafone and the distributor community.
Right.
And X number of distributors or point of sale operators.
Yeah.
Neither would Airtel want a problem on its hands, or nor would the government, want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So what is the best practice in this perspective?
The best practice is our product actually sits between this Airtel and the MasterCard thing. When you are working with MasterCard and all that, they would be responsible for clearing and settling the transactions that go through their set of merchants. If it is merchants that are acquired by Airtel or something, Airtel owns that. At the end of the day, there is some revenue share happens on each transaction, but outside of that, each one of them, depending on what rails it's taking to go. At the end of the day, consumer is using one instrument to make the payment, but in the back end, the transaction may flow in different directions. Thank you very much.